Incredible fight itself. Khamzat's performance, I mean, was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Give us your takeaway of it. And did you see before this fight that being the possible way it was going to play out?
No. The lead up to this fight, I said, I bet the main event is the fight of the night. Didn't see that coming, but not shocked either. I mean, you go in and dominate the way that he dominated. If you can do it the first round, more than likely you're going to do it the second and throughout the rest of the fight.
There was a time, and it was in the promos leading up to this fight, you said Khamzat was special, one of the most special guys you've ever seen. Do you think he's lived up to that yet, or does he still have a little ways to go because he's been a bit more inactive since
the night on when we were on Fight Island, he said, I want to fight next Saturday. Ever since then, the guy's been a rocket ship, and obviously is very popular too. People love him. Fighting back here in the United States, and obviously Chicago loved him too.
Do you hope that he can maybe start getting back towards the levels of activity we saw at the beginning of his UFC career?
He's the champ now, so.
Okay.
What up, Jew? What up, the homie Jew? I'm answering your question, but let me just say what I just said while I was on mute. About 3 questions here that Oscar Willis fired off. I'm going to break them down for you real quick. But to answer Jew's question, thanks for watching, by the way. Thanks for tapping in, as always. Khamzat's getting backlash because he used a grapple-heavy approach on DDP. And it's a little bit of it's a dicey situation here. It's something that needs, there's layers to breaking this down. So that's why he's getting backlash, though, because he grappled DDP the whole fight and didn't really cause too much damage. Now, Dana White gets asked to start this off. Is that the performance you expected? I guess maybe Dana knows where Oscar's going with it, so he kind of goes the opposite route, and he says, like, no, it wasn't. But I guess, if you have that much success in the grappling department in the first round, then why not do it the whole fight? So kind of, just kind of avoiding, in my opinion, Dana's avoiding giving a take. Does Dana love that? No. He's bashed fighters in the past, so maybe he's just taking this as a one-off. He knows that Khamzat's a star regardless of the performance, so he's just kind of taking it as a wash maybe. I don't know, but it's not like Dana's above criticizing his champions for lackluster performance. Now, does that mean Khamzat deserves backlash? Hard to say. I think I'll save that opinion for you for a little bit later in this stream. Now, Oscar also asks, Khamzat, is he? What did Oscar ask Dana? Is Khamzat gonna be an active champion? Dana says, well, he's the champion now, so Dana wants him to be an active champion. Time will tell. I don't think that Khamzat's gonna be super active. If you want an early prediction on that, I don't think he's going to be super active. Just based off of what history tells us about Khamzat. There was a middle question here.
If you can do it the first round, more than likely you're going to do it the second and throughout the rest of the fight.
Yeah. There was a time, and it was in the promos leading up to this fight, you said Khamzat was special, one of the most special guys you've ever seen. Do you think he's lived up?
Yeah, he's obviously still special. I think he has lived up to the expectations, and I think Dana agrees.
He can maybe start getting back towards the levels of activity we saw at the beginning of his UFC career.
He's the champ now, so.
Okay. And what did you think of DDP's performance, right? Obviously, he was outmatched in the wrestling, never gave up, though, even in the...
So, right, he's like, well, he's the champ now, so... so he's saying stuff without saying it. He's kind of right there. He's basically saying... He's a champ now, so yeah, duh. I like him to be active. In a way, he's pulling no punches with that answer.
Last round, he started landing his own shots. What did you make of DDP and his toughness to survive 5 rounds?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I had every round at 10-8, maybe except for the last round. But to be in the position that he was in and the crucifix and just getting dominated on the ground and punched in the face and elbowed, and it's a very frustrating place to be in. I thought he handled it well and came out every round, trying to get in the fight and try to win.
So, the mounted crucifix, if it's so easy, I will say this. If it's so easy to get somebody in a mounted crucifix, everybody would do it. It is impressive that Khamzat... It is impressive. I definitely need an ad blocker, soda pop. I've never lived life with an ad blocker, so I don't even know. But if I'm assuming if you get an ad blocker, you can't go back. Now, what did Dana just say? Let me rewind this.
Came out every round, trying to get in the fight and try to win. Yeah. Impressive.
On the crucifix, it's
yes,
a weird...
the crucifix. If it was so easy, everybody would do it. So I think, is Khamzat getting him in the crucifix the same as like Kamaru Usman laying in Joaquin Buckley's half guard? Like, if that's what I've been thinking a little bit today. If people are kind of criticizing Khamzat for his performance, then definitely I feel like Kamaru Usman deserves a little bit of criticism himself for at least how he grappled Joaquin. I saw MMA Guru had a tweet out there saying that they applauded Ankalaev's performance against Pereira. I didn't really see too much of that. Maybe he's making up his own narrative. If that's true, though, then, we can't be applauding grappling for certain guys or not criticizing and then criticize Khamzat heavily. I don't think that it's because Khamzat's not a fan favorite. Let me just kind of say, I guess, how I feel about the grappling. Like I already kind of stated with the mounted crucifix, that's not easy. I think DDP should have had an escape or two for a mounted crucifix. At this level in the game, I think a lot of guys have holes in the grappling department. I think it showed with DDP. He clearly doesn't have a mounted crucifix escape. Maybe that's something other guys got to work on, especially when you're going up against Khamzat. Khamzat also throughout the fight, he was passing half guard a lot. Like, I was somewhat intrigued while I was watching the fight with Khamzat's grappling ability. Now here's where I'll contradict a little bit. In wrestling, it's fine when you, like, I'm talking high school, college wrestling. It's fine when you execute moves. When I say when you execute moves, I'm talking about how Khamzat is taking DDP down and passing guard, mounting him, advancing to mounted crucifix. These are all transitions. Like, these all deserve points. This is what I've been praising or preaching. You know what I mean? So I can't really be a hypocrite here. He was doing that. However, when he got to certain positions, he was stalling a little bit, and the referee came in and called it and separated them. And I feel like rightfully so, because where I'm tying in the high school wrestling point is there's stalling calls in high school wrestling. So once it comes to a point where you're not pursuing the action, it is on the referee to come in and push the pace a little bit, which I think the referee did. He's getting shit for that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Giving DDP a couple of chances to make the fight exciting. This is a show after all. But I can't criticize Khamzat so heavily for the grappling. Now, obviously, the title says he's boring, and you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to get the clicks, so don't be thinking my title was like a representation of my true opinion. I'm just out here trying to fucking spread the narrative of what's going on, get you guys to tune in. So I don't really criticize the grappling too much. Like, was it a little bit boring how he didn't knock him out? Yes, it was a little bit boring how he didn't knock him out. But do I think, like, he sucks and shit like that. I don't. I see a little bit of a narrative out there, and maybe there's some validity to it. He didn't open up because then that would have caused DDP to be able to escape. So he gave DDP 0 opportunities to escape, which also gave himself less opportunities to strike, you know? There was a lot of advancing. I mean, he landed 500, shots on DDP apparently. So I'll tie this back to what I said earlier. I think part of the responsibility does fall on DDP. You got to have mounted crucifix escapes. That's a brutal position to get into now, because once this part of your arm is blocked, bro, you cannot bring your shoulder in. You know what I mean? And you're already flat on the mat with your tricep. So you can't with that. You see what I'm saying? You're gonna dislocate your shoulder to get out of a position like that. It's a very difficult position to get out of. Khamzat just changed the game a little bit. I think a lot of guys are now realizing, damn, it's actually a pretty good, advantageous position. But again, you got to have escapes for that. DDP had none.
100 punches around, but they're not quite hard enough to end the fight. Are you glad the referee doesn't wave a fight off in that position?
Listen, I don't know how hard they are, and I don't want to fucking know how hard they are. Nobody wants to be in a crucifix getting punched in the head like that. It's got to be the most frustrating, suck the heart and soul right out of you type thing to happen. And just getting dominated on the ground the way that he did is no fun for anybody. I wouldn't say that, he's getting pitted-patted striked. I mean, his face was pretty busted up. The knees that he was taking to the body and to the legs and the hips, and it's going to be a long ride home to South Africa.
Okay, so let's just put a pin in it. Let's just put a pin in it right now. Dana isn't mad at Khamzat for the performance. Dana's been around for a long time. I think he's keeping it a buck. I think, like I said earlier, if Dana had an issue, he would have something to say. Now, I think that MMA Guru has a big say with his fan base, and rightfully so. He created it, and it's all good. It's all gravy. But in my honest, humble opinion, sometimes Guru comes off as a casual too. And I can't tell if it's because he reads the comment section and bases his opinions off of the comment section, which I think is the worst fucking thing to do. Stand on what you fucking think. That's just a guess. Or, that's the best guess, because I'm shooting him bail by saying he goes off his comment section. If you don't go off your comment section, homie, and you really weren't super impressed, and you're talking kind of some of the shit you're talking, I feel like that's why, for me and Dana at least, and I don't always see eye to eye with Dana, but for me and Dana at least, it's almost we would be down to talk shit on Khamzat. It's not that hard. You know me, I don't bite my fucking tongue. If Khamzat fought like shit, I would say something about it. But how can I talk down on the man who gets DDP in a fucking mounted crucifix? Takes him down at will. Like I said, he's passing his half guard with ease. I was literally, I'm going to keep it a buck. I didn't say it throughout the broadcast, but I'm watching the fight, and I'm thinking, part of the shit in my head I'm thinking is, damn, he's really good at passing guard. Really good. Really good at just fucking, going right into side control. That shit means something to me. Maybe I'm, a purist, I don't know, but, that's, that kind of shit is landing a jab on the feet. I hate the guys who camp out in half guard and don't do shit. Now, like I say, did Khamzat reach the mounted crucifix position a couple times and just hang out there? Did Khamzat just lay on DDP's back a few times throughout that round? While DDP's on his knees? Yes, that kind of stuff happened. Yes, that kind of stuff was boring. But, a large majority was spent in that mounted crucifix, and I'm not going to really diss it. It is what it is, man. I think, yeah, it wasn't super exciting, like Juice saying, but, it was impressive. I think it was impressive. And if you're watching, a jiu-jitsu tournament or something like that, and you're seeing somebody pass guard like that, you are going to be like, damn, this is a guy to watch. So I do want to just repeat what I said a second ago. I low-key, and it's not the first time I thought this, Guru comes off a little bit as a casual to me, and that's kind of shocking because he does have like moments of genius where I listen to him, I'm like, yeah, dude, that shit sounds pretty fucking smart. But then he also has weird times where he's bashing, and it's like, I guess because you don't like the fucking Dagestanis and shit like that, and your homies, I guess because he's homies with DDP, right?
If you guys don't want to watch grappling and wrestling and jiu-jitsu, don't watch UFC. Don't. You guys are complaining about something that it's a very simple problem to fix. It's a very simple problem to fix. For example, let's say Khamzat's about to fight again. You don't want to watch his style. All you gotta do is go like this. You see this button right here? It's called off button. You just go like this. You go off. You don't have to see Khamzat wrestle. It's a very simple problem to have. It's a very simple problem to fix, guys. You guys are making it a bigger deal than it is. If you guys don't want to watch grappling and wrestling and jiu-jitsu, don't watch UFC.
So, I'm not going to lie to you. You know, originally I kind of was against Demetrious' point here, but as I broke down the same kind of stuff that's been going on, I'm kind of slightly with DJ. You guys can't hate so much on the grappling, and you have to be able to differentiate between, like I said, guys who just lay in half guard and guys who are able to pass guard, get to side control. This is part of the sport, you know, and I know a lot of new fans are striking fans and this and that, but you know, jiu-jitsu is a foundational part of the sport. It was the superior martial art for a long time. So if you are a fan of the sport, it'll behoove you to really kind of familiarize yourself with the grappling and just to be able to look out. Like, you guys, if you don't really pay attention to being able to pass guard and stuff, those are inner battles going on in the fight that I think it's equivalent to striking on the feet, you know, passing guard, moving to mount a crucifix, attempting submissions, which Khamzat should get better at. These are all parts of the sport that should be appreciated. If you have a hard time appreciating it, it sounds like you do kind of like kickboxing or boxing. And if you're just hating on it because you don't like Khamzat and you're a DDP fan, that's a total other story. I don't got much to say about that. I get what that is, I guess. See, and then you got Whittaker too saying only casuals.
Anyone that says it's a boring fight is a casual. Okay, no offense, no offense. Like, you're gonna take a little offense. I'm sorry. If you're a fan of the sport, okay, and you're not absolutely fascinated by the ability, like by Chimaev's ability to control someone who's as dogged and fights out of things like Dricus, who's done it time and time again, who's physically never gasses anymore, like super strong, has cardio for days, is prepared for him, has a great headspace. If you're not fascinated by like such a one-sided domination, man, then you're like, you have to be a casual, because you never see this, never. This like this level at championship fights, this level of control. Man, we just saw someone get crucifixed for like 15 minutes. Like, how can you be a fan of the sport and not think, wow, that's crazy?
So I just want to say this, like, a lot of people, and I mean, if you're watching this stream, you probably don't watch Guru. Not to say Guru's shit, but I mean, listen to fucking Whittaker here. Now, I've been consistent from the beginning of this stream. I didn't even hear Whittaker's take till just now. I had that shit bookmarked, but I have not watched that full thing. I barely even read the description. I didn't even know what he was going to say, although I did know. I basically knew he was going to say something about how he's okay with it, but I didn't know he was going to say that. And it just goes to the point, man. Like, Guru saying shit like that, I know that he's a fan of DDP, so I guess that's what it is. He's more of DDP's homie. But if it's not because he's DDP's homie and he's hating on that performance, bro, he's not really a fan of the sport. He's like a kid who did Taekwondo when he was younger, and he thinks he knows MMA because he knows striking. Newsflash, boys, you can come back and fucking save this receipt, save this timestamp, save this fucking tape. Jiu-Jitsu's coming back. It's about to dominate the sport again. So everybody better be familiarizing themselves with grappling, with Jiu-Jitsu. It's coming back. It's about to destroy striking again. Hot take. Hot fucking take, boys. And this is one of them right here. it's worth noting some of Whittaker's points. I think a lot of people will see what happened to DDP, and it's like sometimes I think fans can't differentiate or like remember how good it is that somebody's able to do this to DDP. Like, that's a part of it for, I think, a lot of people. I see a lot of people just putting these endless expectations on people. Oh, DDP should have got out of it. He's champion. That's what, like, the average person's going to say. But it's like, no, guys, think deeper. DDP's the champion. He is that good. If he could get out of it, he would. But he's having a hard time because Khamzat's that good. And so, you can't brainwash yourself. You got to be able to differentiate and give credit to good quality technique, good quality work. And, like, DDP's a guy who's been co-signed fights ago. Like, if somebody beats him, it's fair and square. Like, there's no, bullshit hype job with DDP. There's none of that. It's been proven. So when someone comes in and beats him, you got to give him the credit. You got to give him the flowers. That's my thing. So, yes, at a championship level, to do that to a guy like DDP is all the more impressive. You have to think like that. You cannot think, oh, he's the champion, he should have got out of it. Huge fan of the sport, but still feel like you deserve to reap fun. Yeah, that's fine, man. That's fine. It's honestly fine. But I'm going to be real with you. He did better than some other guys. I think Kamaru didn't do as much grappling. Advancements against Joaquin, I think he did less than Khamzat did against DDP. I think Kamaru just did takedowns against Joaquin, and he had less takedowns.